I'm still extremely bullish on Palantir, and in total I have roughly around 2 to 3% of my entire portfolio invested in Palantir. And in today's video I want to explain a little bit why I'm so bullish, even though a lot of investors have left Palantir and Palantir has drafted a little bit into a dark corner of the investment space. So I want to give a little bit of insight, shed a little bit of light into that corner, and explain really why I think Palantir is still a good investment. So with no further ado, let's jump right into it. As many of you probably already know, Palantir was finally able to report profitability in the fourth quarter of 2022. That's obviously a huge step in the right direction, and Alex Karp has been talking about that for years and years, that they will be able to reach profitability. And in the last quarter was the first time where they actually were able to do that, and they were able to do it on a GAAP basis. But that's not it, and that's why I'm making the video today, is to explain a little bit more my thought on that GAAP earnings of 1 cent per share. Because 1 cent per share, if somebody tells you they're profitable with 1 cent per share, it sounds almost laughable, because it feels like that's nothing, right? But I want to go through it a little bit and actually explain what it means. Because if we think about that, they had a revenue of 509 million, and I'll try to write it on the side here a little bit, and they actually made a net income of 31 million. So that means that they have a net profit margin of roughly around 6%. And a 6% net profit margin is really quite good. There are a lot of companies out there that have been profitable, for years, that are really good companies, and they don't have 6% net profit margins. And Palantir has just reached that. In their first quarter, they're already profitable on a 6% net profit margin. I mean, that's quite an achievement in my point of view. Even though a cent per quarter sounds like nothing, hey, if we put it into perspective, those are serious numbers. By the way, just a quick plug. Let us know in the comment section what you think about Palantir, if you like the company, if you're invested or not. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. So let's get back to the video. And additionally to that, on top of those 6%, if we look into the gross margins, it's even crazier, because we see that their adjusted gross margins are always somewhere in the 80s, right? And in Q4 of 2022, they reached 82%. It's insane, because as we mentioned just earlier, they had roughly around 500 million in revenues, and they used to reach those 500 millions in revenue only around 100 million in cost of revenue. And that is insane. If you're able to scale at such a level, at 82%, if you're able to scale, your revenue to like 1 billion, your net profits are gonna be crazy. And that's the key point why I think Palantir is really an investment to think about. I'm not advising you to buy or to sell or whatever. I never do that on the channel, right? I always give my personal opinion here. So it's not like any kind of like pushing anybody or trying to pump the stock or something. It's really my personal opinion. But I think that if you have a company that has an 82% gross profit margin, and in the first quarter where it's profitable, it has already a 6% net profit margin, if that business can scale up a little bit, you will be happy to have bought that business, now when it's very cheap. Because at the moment, the company's worth around 17 billion, and they've got roughly around 2.6 billion in cash just sitting around. And additionally to that, and I love to see it in Palantir, I talked about it in my previous video already on Palantir, they have absolutely no debt. And that is just beautiful, especially in times where interest rates are hiking and interest rates are becoming more expensive. Having no debt is just fabulous. And you have a lot of cash sitting around. You're already cash flow positive, right? So you don't have any cash flow issues, you don't have any liquidity issues, you don't need to pay any interest. You can literally do whatever you want to do with that cash. You're really, really free to operate. Plus now, additionally, you're being profitable on gap earnings, right? And if we look at the valuation of the company at the moment, as I'm recording that, right, the company is worth roughly around 17 billion. And then you have those 2.6 billion in cash. So your company at the moment, you can buy Palantir at the moment for roughly 14.5 billion US dollars. And that's really, a cheap business, considering that Palantir is expected to double its revenue next year. So if they can double the revenue next year to roughly around 2 to 2.2 billion US dollars, hey, you're gonna be extremely profitable, because we're still talking a 80% gross margin. So if you're making an 80% gross margin on 2 billion, it's insane. Your net profit margins are gonna be insane. And that's exactly what I'm looking for, That's why I'm still bullish in Palantir, especially at the prices that it's trading right now. And I think, from my point of view, I think there's also a little bit of, geopolitics coming into it, because I'm very interested in that. And I think that the geopolitical environment is very, very bad for us, for the world, but it's very, very good for Palantir's business model, because I think governments, companies, they will start to invest more in technologies that Palantir is offering, right? So I think there are a lot of tailwinds for Palantir at the moment, and I think they will be able to reach their 2023 forecast, and with that they will become, in my opinion, profitable. We will see if what I'm saying is true next year, but I think at the level as it is right now, I think there are too many tailwinds to ignore Palantir, and that's why I'm bullish on it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helped a little bit to give some perspective, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you very much.